The words that would upend my quiet life came on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, while I was standing in my kitchen with flowers still clinging to my fingertips. It started with the sound of my phone vibrating against the counter, a sound I had heard thousands of times, but never like this. Something in me tightened. Before I even answered, "My name is Marion Larkwood. I am 65 years old."
"Mom." "Hey," Belle said.
Her voice bright in the way people sound when they are distracted, not affectionate. "Listen, about the wedding. I forgot to send your invitation." The way she said forgot was almost breezy, like misplacing a receipt, not like forgetting me. Her own mother. I pressed my flour-dusted palm flat against the counter to steady myself. "You forgot." My voice came out, softer than I expected. "Yeah," she said quickly, "and the guest list is final
now."
They closed everything for the venue. I can't add anyone. It's already submitted. There was no apology in her tone. No guilt, just inconvenience. Like I was another detail she did not want to deal with. She continued, "It's in Los Angeles. There's a lot happening. Dad's family is already flying in. Adrienne's parents booked a private dinner. And the coordinator says no. Last-minute changes. You understand?"
I
understood far more than she meant. For a moment, I could hear her typing in the background, sending an email or a message to someone more important than
me.
She was multitasking through the conversation where she was erasing me.
I
wiped my hands on a dish towel that suddenly felt too thin. "Well," I said quietly, "that happens." She did not
pause.
Did not search my tone for hurt. "Okay, great. I have to run. Love you." The call ended before I could answer. The silence that filled my kitchen felt different. Not loud, not painful, just clean, like a window just wiped down. Something shifted. Small, but undeniable. Like a hinge finally giving way after years of strain. I stood there, my hand still on the counter, and knew this moment would not fade the way so many others had. This one was going to change the way I moved through the rest of my
life.
And for the first time in a very long time, I did not rush to call her back. I did not cry after Belle's call. Instead, memories rose in quiet waves, as if they had been waiting for permission to surface. The first one came from a Thanksgiving years ago. I had spent 2 days cooking, basting, chopping when Belle walked in.
She didn't even take
off her coat before wrinkling her nose. "Mom, why does everything look so old-fashioned?" she said. "Next year let me handle it. I can order something decent." I laughed then, thinking she
was joking.
She wasn't. Another memory followed at her high school graduation. She lost her speech cards and accused me in front of her friends. "You probably misplaced them while cleaning."
She
snapped. "You always move my stuff."
I
remembered standing there holding a bouquet bought with 2 days of savings
for my part-time job.
I remember apologizing, even though I had never touched her cards over the years. The pattern grew sharper. "Mom, please don't talk too much when Adrienne's parents
come.
They're very particular." "Mom, can you pick up my dry cleaning?" I forgot. Again. "Mom, you wouldn't understand. It's just how things work in my world."
I
never argued. I would cook her favorite meals, drive long distances to deliver things she forgot. Smooth over conflicts
she caused.
I told myself that kindness would work like a slow medicine. That she would grow into gratitude. Instead, she grew into expectation once. During a brunch with her friends, she introduced me with a dismissive laugh. "This is my mom. She tries her best." They smiled politely. I focused on stirring my coffee so she wouldn't see the sting. Now, standing alone in my quiet kitchen, the memories settled in their places. Not loud, not angry, just true. And for the first time, I felt the weight of all the years I had been invisible. On the morning of the wedding, I opened my laptop. The way someone opens a wound they already know will sting.
The live
stream window loaded with a soft chime. And suddenly, Los Angeles sunlight filled my small Portland kitchen. Guests settled into their seats. Laughter rose. Music swelled. My name appeared briefly on the screen. Reserved Marion Larkwood printed on a white place card at an empty chair.
They
Had kept the chair, but removed the
person meant to occupy it.
Belle entered. Next, glowing in a fitted ivory gown. The coordinator adjusted her veil.
Her
Groom, Adrian, smiled as if he had never known struggle. And beside him, his mother touched Belle's arm with a softness I recognized too well.
that
Necklace, I murmured to the screen.
I
Gave you that. She laughed at something. Adrian whispered. His mother leaned in, brushing a stray curl from Belle's
cheek.
The tenderness was familiar, but it did not belong to me anymore.
As the
Efficient spoke, the camera panned the rose again. My empty seat caught the
light
No one looked at it. No one
questioned it.
I closed the laptop. Halfway before the vows finished.
My
Hands stayed still on the table.
The
silence in the room did not feel accidental. It felt chosen. The morning after the wedding, I deleted the family
group chat.
No announcement, no explanation. My thumb hovered only a second before I pressed leave. A few hours later, my phone buzzed with a message from my sister. Lena, Marion, did you mean to exit the chat?
Yes, a pause.
Then, is everything all right? I'm fine, I wrote back. It was the truth, in a way I had not felt for years.
I
Stopped sending Belle reminders about dentist appointments, deadlines, birthdays. I stopped mailing holiday packages she never acknowledged.
My
Calendar, once crowded with her needs, went blank in March. She called. Mom, why didn't you send anything for Adrienne's promotion dinner? I kept my voice even. I didn't know it was my responsibility. She scoffed. You always
do.
Not anymore. She hung up without saying goodbye. By summer, I had quietly removed myself from their routines so no one noticed my absence.
They
Celebrated milestones without inviting
me.
They posted smiling photos without tagging me. They lived as if I had never been the one holding the edges together. And strangely, the quiet did not feel like punishment. It felt like protection. A thin but steady shell, forming around the parts of me I had ignored for too long. One evening in late autumn, I sat alone with a cup of tea and realized I had not checked Belle's social media in months. The urge to monitor her life had evaporated in the hollow left by silence. Something new began to stir, light, tentative, unfamiliar. I didn't plan to rebuild anything. I told myself I only needed rest, a pause, a space to breathe, without Belle's voice coloring every decision I made. But the weeks stretched into months, and in the emptiness she left behind, something small and stubborn began to grow. It started when my neighbor Helen knocked on my door, holding a paint-stained apron. We're short one person in my watercolor group, she said. Come with me. It will be fun. I almost said no. For 65 years, I had been too busy being useful.
But
Helen smiled in that warm, insistent way that didn't leave much room for excuses. At the community center, the instructor placed a brush in my hand. Just try, he said. My first strokes were shaky, but as the colors spread across the paper, a surprising calm washed over me. No one judged me. No one asked for anything. No one compared me to someone better. The following week, I returned, without Helen needing to ask. Soon after, I joined a volunteer group that delivered groceries to seniors who couldn't drive. During one delivery, an elderly man named Frank looked at me and said, "You remind me of someone who used to care for everyone but herself."
I
blinked, unsure whether to laugh or cry. Maybe I'm finally learning, I said.
In
late spring, I signed up for a Tai Chi class in the park. A woman named Lorraine leaned over during the warm-up and whispered, "If I fall, pretend it was intentional." I laughed harder than I had in years. My days filled slowly. Art class on Mondays, volunteering on Wednesdays, Tai Chi on Fridays. Nothing grand, nothing dramatic, just small acts of choosing myself. One afternoon while cleaning out a drawer, I found the old planner where I used to track everything. For Belle, her appointments, her deadlines, gifts to send, bills to remind her about. I flipped through the pages, covered in my handwriting, all that effort, all those years. I closed the planner gently, then placed it in the
trash.
The house felt lighter afterward, as if some invisible weight had lifted from the walls. Outside my window, children were laughing, chasing bubbles down the sidewalk. Their joy drifted in, like a breeze. And for the first time in a long while, it felt like mine too.
Breathe.
Peace had arrived slowly, almost shyly, but it was real.
It was mine.
The first sign arrived in the form of a message from my cousin Marcy.
Did
you see Belle's latest post? She wrote. She deleted it after 10 minutes.
I
hadn't seen anything. I hadn't checked in months. Marcy sent a screenshot.
Anyway,
Belle stood in her apartment, makeup smudged, captioned, "Some days, nothing works. Some days you realize who's really there for you." Her smile
was tight.
Nothing like the glossy confidence she usually performed. A few days later, Marcy called. I heard her. Agency might be cutting staff, she said. Rumors only, but she's nervous.
I
thanked her, then set the phone down. There was no reason Belle couldn't reach out herself, but she didn't. She posted motivational quotes instead. Rise above. Trust your worth. Remove toxic energy. Each one sounding more brittle than the last. In early summer, another message came, this time from Helen, who had family in Los Angeles. Apparently, her husband canceled her credit card in a fight. She said something about her spending being out of control. I stayed quiet, letting the information settle. 2 weeks later, my sister Lena called at night. Marian, I don't want to alarm you, but Belle showed up at our cousin's place crying. Something about missed rent. Did she ask for me? I asked. Lena hesitated. No. She said you were busy, living your little Portland life. Her words, not mine. I felt the sting, but it passed quickly. She had always spoken about me as if I were an inconvenience. More posts disappeared from her page. Smiling photos became rare. The glow she curated so carefully dimmed until all that remained were vague updates and half-hearted captions. The cracks were widening. Her world, perfect, curated, untouchable, was beginning to split. And I knew that sooner or later she would come looking for someone to hold it together. The call came on a Thursday evening, just as I was washing the last paint off my hands after class. Belle's name lit up my phone for the first time in almost a year. I let it ring twice before answering. Mom, she said, breathless. I need help. Her voice was strained but not softened. Not humble, just urgent. What do you need, Belle? I am short on rent this month, she said. Quickly. Adrian moved out without warning, and the landlord doesn't care about my situation. I need you to transfer me money. Not a lot, just enough to keep me from getting behind. How much? She hesitated. $3,000. I dried my hands on a towel. I do not have that to give. You do? She snapped. You just do not want to. Her words hit with a familiar bite she always used when things didn't fall her way. Mom, this is serious, she continued. I could get kicked out. I am sorry you're struggling, I said, but I cannot fix this for you. There was a sharp inhale. You're my mom. You're supposed to help. I kept my voice steady. I have helped Belle many times. That was different. This is an emergency. Her voice wavered. I need you. I sat down at my kitchen table. Needing me does not erase how you have treated me. Oh my God, you are being dramatic, she said. So I forgot a wedding invitation. Do you have to hold that over my head forever? I felt something settle inside me, a boundary clicking into place. that was not the only thing. And you know it. She went silent.
Then,
The anger slid in. You're just jealous. My life is harder now. You like this. You like seeing me struggle. That is not true. It is. She insisted. You enjoy punishing me. You want me to depend on you so you can feel powerful. I closed my eyes. No, Belle. I want you to learn how to stand on your own.
her
Voice cracked.
mom, please.
I do not have anyone else. You have yourself.
I said gently. And you can do more than you think. There was a long pause, then
A choked sound. Anger or panic. I could not tell. I cannot believe you.
she.
Whispered. You're supposed to say yes.
I no.
I said, but I am saying no.
The
Silence that followed felt like a door. She had never heard closed before, and it stayed closed when she hung up.
the
Messages began arriving in short bursts, each one more frantic than the last. First came a text from Belle.
The
Landlord taped a notice to my door.
I
Have 10 days. I read it twice before, setting the phone face down on the table. I did not reply. 2 days later, my
sister Lena called me.
Marion, something's going on. Belle showed up at Aunt Julie's house crying.
She said,
Adrian emptied their joint account. Before moving out, I swallowed.
did she
Say why she blamed him? Then she blamed.
you
Then she blamed the economy.
that
Sounds like her. Another message arrived. That evening. Mom, can you lend me just $1,000? Just until I get my paycheck. I typed.
slowly?
I cannot. No explanation, no. Apology, just the truth. Her next voice. Message came late at night. It's not fair, she sobbed. Everyone abandons me. The second things go wrong. Adrian barely spoke to me before he left.
My
So-called friends blocked me because I asked for help. Even my agency says my attitude is inconsistent. They put me on a performance plan.
can you believe that?
I listened, holding the phone gently. Against my ear, I heard the fear under her anger, the cracks in the veneer she had polished for years. But I also heard something else. Every echo of the entitlement that had led her here.
On
The third day, she called again.
mom,
Please talk to the landlord. Just tell him you'll cover me. He listens to older people. I will not. I said, you're letting me drown. I am letting you swim. She hung up hard enough that I could hear the click through the phone. By the end of the week, Marcy sent one final
update.
Belle moved in with a coworker. Temporarily. Things look rough. I thanked her. Quietly. Later, I sat by my window as evenings settled over the neighborhood. The sky a muted gray. I thought of Belle. Alone in some unfamiliar room. Surrounded by the consequences she had spent years outrunning. My heart ached for her, but my boundaries held.
Belle
Showed up at my door on a gray Sunday morning holding nothing but a small overnight bag. She looked thinner, her hair pulled back without its usual
shine.
When I opened the door, she didn't speak right away.
Mom, she
Finally said, voice cracking.
can I
Come in. I stepped aside. She walked to the kitchen table and sat down like someone who had run out of places to pretend. I owe you an apology, she
said.
A real one. Not the kind I make when I want something. I waited.
She
Clasped her hands tightly. I knew exactly what I was doing when I didn't send your invitation. Adrian said his parents preferred more organized family dynamics. Her shoulders trembled.
I
Didn't want to look messy. I didn't want them to judge me. You were afraid I
said.
and selfish, she whispered.
I
Chose their approval over my own mother. I thought I could make my life look perfect if I edited you out. That's the
truth.
I let her words sit between us. She blinked rapidly. You didn't deserve
That
any of it.
no.
I agreed calmly.
I
Did not. She looked up, startled by my steadiness. I'm trying to fix things.
she said.
I'm trying to fix myself, but I don't know where to start. You start by telling the truth, I said, which you just did. Her eyes filled Do you? Forgive me? I reached across the table and rested my hand near hers,
Not.
touching just close enough for her to feel the possibility. Forgiveness is not the same as forgetting, I said quietly, and it is not the same as going back. She nodded slowly, understanding more. Then she liked. For the first time, she did not ask for anything. She just stayed, breathing in the silence she had never learned to sit with. Belle stayed in Portland longer than she planned.
Not.
With me, she found a room to rent from one of Lena's friends, but she came by often, always with that same careful politeness, as if afraid she might break something she could not repair again. One afternoon, over coffee at the small cafe near my building, she stirred her cup without drinking. I got a job, she
Said.
It's not glamorous. Customer support for an online retailer, but it's mine. That sounds steady. I
Said.
She nodded. I'm learning how to budget. I didn't realize how much Adrian had covered or how much I depended on you. I'm glad you're learning, I said. She hesitated. I'm not asking for help anymore. I want to stand on my own.
That.
Is good, Belle, I replied. Standing is the first step to walking. A faint smile touched her lips. Does this mean we're okay? We are moving forward, I said.
Gently.
But I will not carry what isn't
Mine.
She looked at me, really looked, the way someone does when they finally see the person they've ignored.
I
understand. Weeks passed and our coffees became a quiet routine. She no longer arrived with demands, only conversation. She told me about her job training, the roommate she was learning to get along with, the small victories that once felt beneath her. I shared my watercolor projects, my volunteer stories, the small pleasures of a life that finally belonged to me. She listened, something she had rarely done before. One evening, as we walked out of the cafe, she touched my arm lightly. I like who you are now, she said. I wish I'd seen you sooner. I'm still here, I said. And for the first time, it felt true in a way neither of us needed to explain.
If you
like this story, please like and subscribe so I can tell you more stories.